Hey everybody, Andy Ryder here with Project Lab. Big news, I've got a truck. It's a great vehicle, I'm really excited about it, but I've got a lot of work ahead. So I'm gonna do a new video series on fixing it up. Before we talk about what's wrong with it, the backstory on this thing is that this used to be my dad's truck. It's a 2002 Chevy Silverado 1500 with a 5.3 V8. He bought it in 2005. Had pretty much nothing but good things to say about it. Eventually he got a new truck and this one became kind of a backup until one day he was driving to work and a milk truck pulled out in front of him and he slammed on the brakes and there was no brakes there. So he limped it home, took a look, and a brake line had burst. The brake lines were so rusty that they were just falling apart. He priced out the job, it was pretty expensive. Did some research, figured out that it was a doable thing, but also figured out that it was going to be tough because you're talking about dealing with rusty parts in tight spaces. And I had mentioned to him at one point, if you're ever going to sell that truck, let me know. Because naturally, ever since I've known about trucks, I've wanted a truck. And so I thought, well, it'd be cool to have my dad's old truck. And so he said, if you come and help me fix these brake lines, we'll make a deal. So I went and spent something like 3 weekends working on replacing the brake lines. It was harrowing. It's not even like it's technically hard. It's not like you're rebuilding the transmission and you've got 9 billion little balls and springs and channels and you need to make sure everything's clean and nothing gets scraped up. It's really more just, well, we're just gonna run this pipe from point A to point B, except for the fact that since everything is covered in rust and since it's all put together, like when they're doing the brake lines at the factory, this is all taken apart. And so it's a lot easier to do all those tasks when you've got a wide open truck frame. But when you've got to try to snake your arm through a 6-inch gap that takes a 45-degree turn and rust is falling into your eyes, you're not even sure you're going the right way. It was nasty, but we got it done, and so now the truck's mine. So it's actually in pretty good shape. The engine seems good. I guess the engines in these are really solid. Transmission shifts fine. 4-wheel drive works. The paint actually is pretty good. You don't have the clear coat chipping off like you see on a lot of vehicles of this age. And side note, it's kind of funny to think about the fact that this vehicle came out in 2002. I graduated high school in 2002, and so naturally I think, that's not that long ago. Well, it was 18 years ago, 16 years ago, so 2019. So that's almost 20 years ago. A few more years here and I'm going to be able to get classic plates for it. But there is still plenty to work on. For one, the rear brakes need work. I might be able to get away with just changing the pads and reuse the rotors back there and save $100 or so. But regardless, I gotta take the rotors off anyway because the parking brake doesn't work on this. And in order to investigate what's wrong with that, I've gotta take the rotors off. So we'll see how that goes. Also of urgency are some issues with the front lights. One headlight is like an aquarium, it's full of water. The other headlight pops out. It's staying in place with some Gorilla Tape for now. And then the fog lights, I think one of those is out. Related to the parking brake issue is that the ABS light is on, and research suggests that that's because the ABS module has failed. That's like either a $100 part or a $300 part. But there's also a lot of people who say that you can fix the board. You can take a soldering iron and redo some connections on the back, and it's totally doable. That's intimidating, but to save that much money would be nice. And to have working ABS in here, I would take that. In the same area on the dash, we also have a check engine light, which in old vehicles often is some emissions thing. It's important to protect the environment, but sometimes the replacement part is like $300 again. And you're talking about putting $300 into a vehicle that might eventually just die and you have to junk it soon. That's not the case with this one. I'm pretty sure it's just a charcoal canister underneath that's something like 18 bucks to replace, which should be doable and would be totally worth it to get that check engine light to go off. As far as other major stuff goes, this truck has a lot of rust. My dad said he kept it clean, but he didn't buy it new, so who knows what the history was like before that, and it's a Wisconsin vehicle. You're pretty much driving through an ocean of salt every winter, so it's gonna happen. You're gonna get some rust. But I've got the MIG welder. I'm confident that we can take care of this. Just might take a couple tries. And then also the tires. The tires are still safe, but they don't grip the best in the rain, so it's time for some new ones. There's some fluid changes ahead, transmission, differential, things like that. I'm guessing I'll also have to change some suspension parts. Everything seems fine, but a little preventive maintenance on that might not hurt. The air conditioner doesn't work. I tried to recharge that this summer, and that did not work. Turn off the AC. So I think there might be something wrong with the clutch. Oh, and the tonneau cover. That has started to separate from the Velcro on the sides. I'd like to keep that because it's nice knowing that there's something keeping your cargo from flying out as you drive down the highway. Maybe I can sew it back together. We'll see. And then inside, the vehicle needs to get detailed. There's some rips in the upholstery. The armrest is needing some attention. There's some other stuff on modern day vehicles too that'd be nice, like a tire pressure monitoring system, a backup camera, a stereo that you can stream music through. I know there's a company that makes aftermarket heated and cooled seats, so I might look into that at some point, because the idea is pretty much I'll have this truck for the rest of my life if I have it my own way. I kind of got that idea after seeing Frank Howarth's truck. He's a YouTube woodworker, and he's using this beautiful old Ford as his work truck, and it works great. And so if I can make the expensive stuff last 20 years or so, maybe I can eventually convert this into an electric truck. So with the way truck prices are going too, why do I need a new truck all the time? I don't. I've learned that it's best to back in with this thing because it is not very maneuverable. It's nice to be able to just blast out of here when you're done with the day. And anyway, that's it. It's really a pretty good truck. If you want to follow along, it'd be a good time to subscribe. Thanks for watching.